Today I'm breaking down how Train to Busan doesn't just show fear, it uses cinematography to make you feel it. We kick off in rural South Korea, where a trucker hits a deer only for it to rise, zombified, with milky eyes and jerky movements. Lee Hyung-gyok's cinematography paints a haunting picture. Wide shots of the countryside feel serene but scream troubles brewing. Before the chaos, the camera gives us emotional coldness. Frames are static, isolated, boxed in by glass, windows, walls. The photography mirrors Seok-woo's detachment from his wife, from his daughter, even from himself. A man not only disconnected from those around him, but from his emotions. Cold blue and harsh fluorescent lighting strips warmth through the scenes. In this emotional distance. You see, this is the way the camera isolates him, behind panes of glass or office windows, literally and metaphorically framing him separate from a human connection. This detachment is further emphasized by his mechanical actions, like giving Suan a duplicated birthday gift, an echo of his inability to truly connect or understand her. Even on the drive to the station, the camera keeps its distance. Seok-woo and Suan barely speak. They're framed in cold daylight, side by side, but emotionally miles apart. The photography doesn't just show their distance, it creates it. The camera stays smooth, detached, almost too calm. Lateral dolly shots mirror the glide of the train, silent momentum toward disaster. The cinematography weaponizes stillness here, using a near-static frame to trap the viewer in the moment of dread. It's not just what happens, it's the waiting, the anticipation, and the sense of doom. The infected woman boards with no one noticing her. She's limping and she's trying to conceal her bite wound, and this is just the start of the chaos. The tight claustrophobic framing inside the cramped bathroom mirrors, her escalated panic and helplessness, giving a visceral, almost tactile sense of infection spreading. The cold light and the harsh shadows carve out an atmosphere of clinical horror and a slow poison. This compositional choice, like steady horizontal movements, creates a false sense of security, like the calm before the storm. The stewardess notices something's wrong. A young woman is convulsing near the restroom floor. The camera holds wide and low, placing that twitching figure in the frame's foreground. Harsh overhead train lights create a sterile, clinical mood. She kneels. No music, just the faint hum of the train. Then, a throwaway moment, she turns her back and calls out for help. The last time two friends will ever speak. The infected woman suddenly arches backward, her movement unnatural, grotesque. The shock holds too long, making the moment unbearable. She lunges forward and bites into the stewardess's neck. Camera stays medium and tracking, not shaky, but visceral. You feel like another passenger, frozen nearby, as she slams the stewardess down and sinks her teeth in. The audio design here is stomach-turning. No music, just tearing, screaming. The lighting stays normal, like a nightmare unfolding in broad daylight, but it's forcing you to feel it. Back near the rear carriage, the male steward hears screams. He rushes in, and what he sees stops him cold. His friend, the kind, dorky, funny stewardess he used to chat with, is gone. Now, she's hunched over a body, like some nightmare lunch break. Audio dials down. She turns snarling. Her face is blood-clotted mask of madness. Now he is the one that she's after. The crowd screams, passengers run, but the camera doesn't run. It slides, laterally, calmly, smooth as silk. And then we get a moment that perfectly toes the line between terrifying and oddly funny. As chaos spreads through the carriage, the infected stewardess runs after her former colleague. Then she lunges and bites him, not with rage, but with this weird, gleeful look on her face, like as she's excited to be eating him. Is this a weird team-building moment for her? I don't know. It's kind of like, yay, I got you. Or maybe it's, God, this is horrific. I'll never sleep again. Honestly, you decide. Let me know in the comments. She finishes with him like he's a snack pack, and immediately turns to the passenger behind her, who's frozen, horrified, and completely paralyzed. And then we get possibly one of the most grotesque details in the scene. That same male steward, he reanimates with a swollen eye. Like, what happened to your eye, my guy? Did she just bite his face so hard she squeezed zombie juice into it? It's disgusting, it's weird, it's kind of hilarious, but it somehow works, because that's how fast the virus spreads. No rules, just horror. But through this madness, something shifts. Seok-woo hears Soo-an calling for him, and in that moment, the camera, which has been gliding tracking chaos, slows and centers on him. There's a subtle dolly in, as if we're watching realization dawn in real time, and that's when he runs. He barrels down the aisle, grabs her and holds her tight. Behind him, in one of the film's most iconic wide shots, a horde of zombies pile up and become an avalanche of bodies. The camera holds steady, dollying backwards, as Seok-woo sprints towards safety, Soo-an clenched in his arms. Cinematically, this is where the emotional tone shifts. The shallow depth of field keeps our focus on them, while the background mayhem stays blurred, just like his new focus in life. Not profit, not work, just his daughter. Okay, so picture this. Our man, Sang-hwa, who looks like he eats protein bars for dessert, is holding off a zombie like it's the final boss in Call of Duty. He's shielding his pregnant wife, holding this snarling flesh eater in a headlock like he's about to do a commentary for WWE. It's tense, it's heroic, it's sweaty. Now instruct Seok-woo. Slick suit, corporate hair, the kind of man who buys a Pret sandwich, realises it's got egg in it, and still finish it so he doesn't waste the receipt. He walks in, sees Sang-hwa going full Hulk smash with a zombie, and instead of helping, he does that awkward little shuffle sideways, like he's squeezing past you in Weatherspoons with 2 pints, no coordination. Sang-hwa's in full sweaty beast mode, throwing hands like the fate of humanity depends on his biceps. And behind him, the bitten woman shoots up like she just remembered that she left the oven on. Also, why is he weirdly hot right now? Sorry, distracted. Meanwhile, Seok-woo finally stops at a carriage door, and we get this glorious moment of indecision. He fiddles with the lock like he's never seen a door before, like someone asks him to disarm a bomb on countdown, and he just pauses. Framed in a medium profile, he's caught between chaos and cowardice. His daughter behind him screaming, Sang-hwa's still battling like a legend. But the glass door literally reflects his own face back at him, and just as he might consider doing something useful, bam, businessman pops up behind him like Daily Mail comment section. And Seok-woo, he closes it. Hard cut to Sang-hwa's wife on the other side, horrified, framed in a soft medium close-up. Her face tells you everything. And then Soo-an, Seok-woo's daughter, pulls at his sleeve and goes, "I know them." After the chaos of the initial outbreak, the train glides into the train station. With a deceptive calm, the lighting shifts colder, more sterile. The camera steadies, wide, symmetrical, framing returns, like the world is trying to convince us it's normal again, but we know better. And there, lurking like he's lost in a group project in philosophy class, the awkward guy in glasses, that's our surprise, Hell is Other People cameo. If you blink, you'll miss him. Either way, if you want a full cinematography breakdown of that psychological roller coaster of a series, drop a comment. We catch our breath alongside the characters. The lighting calms, the camera slows. After the burst of chaos, we sit in silence. The survivors are rattled, the audience too. Notice the colour tone, muted, with harsh contrast. It's exhaustion in cinematic form. Next, struts out Mr. Capitalism. No name, no backstory, just corporate evil in loafers. The kind of guy who hoards all the biscuits in the break room and pretends he didn't. The camera isolates him perfectly, all harsh lines and cold light, like the frame itself is trying to social distance from his vibes. He's everything Seok-woo used to be, and everything we hope he grows past. At this point, Seok-woo still trying to do the quiet me and my kid only escape plan. No discussion, no group vote, just grab the child, dodge the undead, leave the civilians, classic hero arc, but make it selfish. But then, he turns and sees the homeless man, fully frozen, staring. He looks like a background character who's stopped rendering. Eyes locked on Seok-woo, like he's trying to load judgment, but the Wi-Fi's cut out. And the cinematography, perfect. One wide static shot, no dramatic music, no quick cuts, just this haunting little lag in the apocalypse. Seok-woo steps in front of Soo-an, not exactly a selfless move, but now it's clear his daughter matters as much as himself. He's still thinking me first, but her first is sneaking in the background. With such a sadness in her eyes, as she says, "That's why Mum left you." And here is where the cinematography delivers again. Half his face in light, half in shadow. A literal split between who he's been and who he might become. You can see the conflict, his eyebrows doing confused math, his mouth trying not to crumble, and his entire soul quietly malfunctioning under the weight of that one line from his kid. It's beautiful, it's awkward, it's devastating. And it all starts with one glitchy little stare from a man who might still be in safe mode. Then the homeless man stumbles towards what looks like safety. A soldier, standing just ahead, but plot twist. The soldier isn't there to help. And then one lone zombie clumsily tumbles into frame like he's tripped on the script. Moments later, the horde follows. He scoops up his pregnant wife and hoists her over the railing. No huff, no puff, just raw strength and a lower back made of vibranium. I had to pause to fan myself. Then we're back to Seok-woo. Eyes locked on Soo-an, he can see her, but panic's creeping in. Zombies are closing in behind her, and he knows one wrong step and he's too late. Each frame is claustrophobic, chaotic. We feel every heartbeat, every footfall, desperation captured perfectly. And then the screen blesses us with Sang-hwa. He elbows a zombie like it's a minor inconvenience. I ascend, like even the lens is swooning. Oh, sorry, I got distracted again. Seok-woo gets tackled. He fights back with the nearest object, a book. Symbolic, desperate, definitely. The camera pulls in tight, the space feels like it's closing in on you, but then the homeless man tosses a blanket to block the zombie's sight, a clever nod that they can't see in darkness. His character finally gets the spotlight, and the camera treats him with the earned importance. Sang-hwa muscles through, shoves the homeless man out of the way, politely but firmly. As the survivors barricade themselves against the flood of zombies, the camera locks into a tight, low-angled medium shot of Sang-hwa and Seok-woo bracing the door. Sang-hwa is framed dead center, his broad frame fitting most of the composition, while Seok-woo is slightly offset, visually reinforcing Sang-hwa as the anchor of the group. And just when you think the tension can't climb any higher, crack. The glass strains, trembles, the shot lingers, the sound pulls back. Then boom, a wall of undead burst through as passengers scramble to find a train car. The cold, harsh lighting and tight framing amplify the chaos and panic. Suddenly, the glass overhead shatters as a swarm of undead crashes on top of the train roof. One zombie even falls from above, breaking its arm so it's stuck hanging limply over its head. A grotesque, unsettling detail as it lurches after the older sister, Soo-an, and the wife. Meanwhile, the selfish businessman hurries a steward, demanding they depart immediately, but the steward shoves him back, insisting there are still more people coming. The camera lingers on the businessman's face, panning slowly to capture his disgust and shock at actually being told no, emphasizing his self-absorbed nature, even as panic erupts around him. The tension builds further as the two sisters are separated into two different train cars, the film using contrasting lighting and cramped framing to underscore their growing isolation in the chaos. The scene erupts in emotion. It's a masterclass in building and breaking tension. The baseball player freezes, center frame, everything swells around him. The sound distorts, the focus sharpens, and Seok-woo doesn't leave him behind. He grabs him, shakes him, saves him. His arc isn't just growing, it's transforming. And finally, Sang-hwa grabs a riot shield. The man could hold back a tsunami with their muscles, but sure, let's give him heavy armor too. He plows through zombies like Gladiator. If this shot had fragrance, it would be dangerously musky. Cinematography again does not miss.
미안해. 나 빼고 다 못 탔어.
And now, the mission. Our emotionally confused disaster hero trio, Seok-woo, Baseball Boy, and Sang-hwa, decide to punch through zombie-filled train cars, like they're late for a family barbecue, and the grill's already on fire. Baseball Boy freezes, and Seok-woo steps in. This is who he's becoming, selfless, protective, and a true protagonist dad. As they hit the tunnel, everything drops into darkness. Shadows stretch along, flickering light plays over the frantic faces. They finally make it out, crawling along the narrow baggage rail, and then, oh no, The homeless man trips right in front of Soo-an, our sweet little angel. She immediately reaches to help, as of course she does, but then Seok-woo yanks her back. Now, if this were the start of the movie, you'd expect him to just shove her aside and sprint off like a selfish fund manager with a bullet train ticket to Mimi Land. But no, this time, he passes her off to Sang-hwa. Yeah, you heard me. The manly muscle mountain
이거 아저씨가 만든 거야?
who probably doesn't even need to breathe, but does. You know, the guy who could probably wrestle a bear and still look like he's stepped out of a cologne commercial. Honestly, handing Soo-an to him is like giving a kitten to a lion. Safe and surprisingly adorable. Then, Seok-woo actually helps the homeless man up. They crouch, waiting. The audience sees it before they do. A lone cam, just sitting there like a landmine in a cartoon. A little foreshadowing wink from the cinematographer, and then wait for it. Crash. The homeless man steps on the can that waits every zombie in a 3-block radius. The camera shakes, the music spikes. Pure chaos. They scramble, panic, at full throttle. They make it to the next car, only to find the dickhead businessman standing there. The camera isolates him again in cold blue hues, a portrait of selfishness. The train is in chaos, zombies everywhere, screams all around. Sang-hwa, the man, the myth, the door-stopping zombie-defying, arm-flexing legend. And the camera slows way down, like we're trapped in a clone commercial for Dangerously Handsome and Unstoppable. Apocalypse by Sang-hwa, for men who don't just fight zombies, they stop time and strut like they own the place. Every muscle gleams, like it's been airbrushed by a team of angels. Seok-woo, he's totally over the theatrics by now. Honestly, I'm just waiting for him to start sparkling like Edward Cullen. Then, a zombie bites Sang-hwa's hand. The camera jerks into chaotic handheld mode. Seok-woo's eyes wide with real panic. The man who once slammed doors on strangers now realizes he might lose a friend. Sang-hwa's voice, cracking but steady, tells his wife to stay back. The camera zooms tight on his face, every line etched with pain and courage, as Sang-hwa whispers the name of the baby he'll never meet. Seok-woo, barely holding back tears, carries his wife away. The same man who once only cared about himself, now risking everything for others. Close-ups and shaky cams yank you from ridiculous swooning to gut-wrenching heartbreak. And then, because it's Sang-hwa, he grabs a zombie and lifts it like a kettlebell. Heroic? Absolutely. Insane? Definitely. Sexy? Honestly, who even knows anymore? I'm just trying to keep up. It's absurd, it's real, and it cuts deep every time. Here, we hit a moment thick with tension. The businessman, still the embodiment of cold, selfish ambition, plants himself like an immovable wall. The camera frames him in tight, claustrophobic close-ups, harsh shadows, cutting across his face, reflecting the darkness in his heart. No warmth here, only cold calculation. And then, the tide begins to turn. Seok-woo steps up, no longer the detached, self-interested man from before. The camera switches to a steadier, more confident angle, the fire returning in his eyes. His punch isn't just physical, it's symbolic, a breaking of old patterns. The businessman squirms like a little baby and says that they're all infected and begs them to go to the back of the train. Inside the train car, paranoia simmers as passengers argue, suspicion thick as fog. Mostly thanks to the businessman's sterile fear like it's his full-time job. The old woman grieving her sister's death moves towards the door. Her zombified sister is just standing there silently on the other side of the glass. Her mouth is slightly parted, eyes all foggy and confused, like she's not entirely sure what's happening or how being undead actually works. The businessman shouts, "Stop her," but the sister, she opens the door. Her body slams against the door. Seok-woo immediately leaps forward to shield Soo-an. The camera switches to a slow dolly as the train barrels through the darkness. And those sisters, we never see them again. Maybe they're off in a quiet corner somewhere, chewing on a train seat or trying to braid someone's intestines, because they still don't quite know how zombieing works.
아빠는 안 무서워요?
무서워.
어제 노래도 아빠한테 들려주고 싶어서 연습했던 노래예요. 그래서 못 불렀어요. 아빠가 안 보여서. 계속 같이 있어줄 거죠?
Inside, when the chaos hits and the camera pulls back, So we see him, sitting in the middle of the chaos, the guy from Strangers from Hell, now zombified, legs flopped out. Honestly, he looks like a confused toddler who wandered into the apocalypse with no brain and a juice box. Mouth open, eyes blinking, slowly, just waiting for someone to explain stepped on. The camera holds on him for just a moment, not as horror, but as consequence. A quiet visual. This is what cowardice costs. Okay, finally, the businessman's dead. Oh wait, he's still alive? Just when you think he's finally zombie food, he's alive. Again, this man has more plot armor than the final boss of a video game. Why is he still breathing?
Why?
Before they reach Busan, the train stops at a station. And who's the first one out? The train conductor. And he spots what looks like a safe train, but it's already crawling with zombies. And what does he do? He sees the infected in there, and the best part, he closes the door behind him. Every single time. Zombies, click, door shut, sealed. Like he actually understands how containment works. What a sweet guy. Like zombie proofing is just another part of his morning routine. Lesson. The businessman peeks out to check if it's safe. Spoiler, it's definitely not. But when the steward nervously asks, "Is it okay?" the businessman gives the coldest nod in history. That deadpan expression. Yeah, I wouldn't trust it either. The steward leans forward, and bam, the businessman shoves him straight into a zombie horde. Kill count 1. The businessman doesn't even close the door behind him. Ugh. Learn something from the conductor maybe. Seok-woo, Soo-an, Seong-kyung, and the baseball player and his girlfriend and the homeless man find what they think is a safe train car until another flaming train car slams into it. They're now trapped between two cars. Seok-woo, Soo-an, Seong-kyung, and the homeless man. Meanwhile, the baseball boy and his girlfriend find another car. He climbs in and helps her in too. As he tries to get out of the other side, they've got one very important thing, shutting the goddamn door, and guess who shows up? The businessman. He grabs the girl and tosses her towards the zombie. The baseball player bites the zombie off and throws it out of the car and closes the door, like he should have done earlier, and runs back to cradle his nail-bitten girlfriend. Intimate close-ups, backlighting on his tears, and she turns in his arms and bites him. It's devastating and beautiful. They were such a sweet couple. Kill count 2. The conductor is prepping the final train to escape. He sees the businessman running over. A wide-angle lens captures the narrow track and distant zombies. The businessman trips and twists his ankle, and instead of letting karma take its course, the sweet conductor rushes to help him, only to be pulled down and sacrificed. Kill count number 3. The businessman runs off again, leaving the conductor screaming. Our heroes are trapped between cars. Seok-woo sees light through the other side and crawls out. For a moment it seems like he's ditching the others. Classic selfish move, right? But no, he's changed. He turns back, holding his hand out to Soo-an. But then, a massive metal barrel crashes between them, blocking access. He's a one-man emergency response unit with a six-pack of emotional trauma. I'm not gonna lie, he might be hotter than Sang-hwa right now. And just when it feels like hope has a chance, the cost of survival arrives. The camera cuts to him, the homeless man. Not a wide shot, not glorified, just a close-up. His face trembling, eyes locked on the flood of death heading his way. This isn't a slow-motion hero shot. There's no Hollywood soundtrack swelling. Just handheld framing, urgent, shaky, real. The fear is honest. The camera barely even moves. It holds as he's holding the zombie back. And as the zombies crash in, his body becomes a barrier between them and the people he saved. He doesn't get a name, he gets this moment. Unflinching, raw, devastating. This quiet sacrifice is one of the most powerful scenes. Because the camera doesn't force us to look at the horror, it makes us sit with it. And then they run. The camera doesn't just watch, it chases. We move with them. A full tracking shot as Seok-woo, Soo-an and Seong-kyung sprint across the platform, every footstep landing like a countdown. The camera matches their speed, handheld but steady. We cut between wide shots showing the staggering number of zombies behind them, and tight close-ups, eyes darting, jaws snarling. Zombies leaping, limbs mid-air. The camera pulls back wide and low, as zombies don't just chase, they collapse into each other. This is where the film's visual effects team goes feral, and clever editing. Zombies at the very base, they're not moving, not even a twitch, because they aren't actors, they're dummies. used deliberately to anchor the pile, gives the top performers room to writhe and climb. The camera clings to Seok-woo like a lifeline. As they reach the final train, Seok-woo throws Soo-an up first. The dad instinct is kicking in strong. He doesn't hesitate, it's her safety first, always. Then the pregnant woman, and then himself. The zombies catch wind, and suddenly they're chasing after them in a massive swarm. It's chaos, bodies slam into each other, pile up, climb over each other. The camera pulls wide here, tracking the chaos from above and behind. He kicks the zombie's hands with force. A zombie sprints in on all fours like some feral dog creature from the pits of undead hell. Seok-woo doesn't even flinch. He sidesteps like a god, with the perfect fluid motion, and the best part, his arm goes out wide, like a strictly dancing professional, executing a perfectly dramatic flourish. Arm stretched, foot turned, body angled. It's not just a dodge, it's a move. And then, just when we think we're safe, who's waiting on the train? Mr. Plot Armor himself, the businessman. Half zombie, half meltdown. He's crying, actually sobbing, saying he wants to see his mummy. Seok-woo says flatly, "You're already infected." Then his zombie takes over. His head lifts and his eyes sparkle. I mean, literally sparkle. His pupils glow bright blue, like he's trying to seduce us. And you know what? For a second, I panicked. I thought, oh no, is it working? Am I about to simp for this man? You've killed 3 people and you sparkle now? But no. Nice try, Sparkle Zombie. You're not Seok-woo. Sit down. The lighting here is clinical, eerie, a sterile blue that drains warmth from the frame, like death breathing down your neck. The cinematography goes handheld and chaotic. Angles are tilted, unsteady. Seok-woo is panting, straining, trying to hold the zombified businessman back. Seok-woo, protector, fighter, father. First trap. Then the infected businessman lunges for his daughter, and Seok-woo runs after him and puts his hand in front of the businessman's mouth on purpose, so he voluntarily gets bitten. He knows what it means. The businessman turned zombie, grabs hold of him, hurls the businessman off the train into the wind like a tragic victory, and turns slowly back to Seok-woo, bleeding, breathing heavy, realizing it's over, and he staggers back to the front of the train. Seok-woo leans heavily on the doorway. He gently pulls Seong-kyung aside and tells her how to operate the train. Somehow, miraculously, he knows how. Then he crouches before Soo-an. His face is full of love and despair. She begs him to stay, screams for him not to go. The camera lingers in tight close-ups, his eyes glassy, trembling. Her hands claw at his sleeves, and as he pulls her hand away and shuts the door behind her, Seong-kyung pulls her back, barely holding her as she thrashes. Seok-woo walks to the back of the train. Extreme close-ups on his face. Our final tear rolls down his cheek, and then a flashback. Soo-an as a baby. His face glows with the purest joy and warmth we've never seen before. We cut back to his face in the present. He smiles, broken but content. Then the camera pans away from his face. All we see is his shadow, stepping off the train. No sound, just silence. Seong-kyung and Soo-an sit together in the silent train as it finally glides into Busan. Seong-kyung looks numb, as Sang-hwa is no longer with her. She's lost her husband and her friend that protected her to the end. As the train finally glides into Busan, the world outside is a graveyard. The light is golden now, but hollow. Seong-kyung is numb. She holds her start either in labour or pain or both. Soo-an leads into her face drenched in tears. Wide shots as they walk along the track through the tunnel. Everything is washed in grey fog. The zombie's hand twitches by a corpse. They flinch, for they press on. On the other side, soldiers, clean uniforms, big guns. They spot movement. Captain, should we shoot? They raise their rifles, and then Soo-an starts to sing. The song her dad missed, the recital she prepared for, the one she carried all this time, close up on her face, singing through tears. Her voice is small but steady, childlike, brave. And the soldiers, they run towards her, cut to black.